to Hillock, or to Hillock, to Brutus, to Mervale. Like, I don't enjoy doing that vanilla portion of the game over and over again.
Hmm.
And moving slow really deters me. I try to do my best to get out of that phase, like with
Mm.
the temp leagues, because I like to move fast. I like to gun and go. And the reason why I like Endless Ledge is because I don't have to worry about, recipes. I don't have to worry about going to town.
Hmm.
I just pick up and make the best of a, shitty situation. And it's not like something that I do like in the normal part of the game. It's not the vanilla portion. And I feel like in order for me to get into like racing where you're like killing bosses and stuff, I'd have to have a different starting point. I'd
Hmm.
have to be like
There we go.
accelerated.
Forgot about the webcam.
That's why I like to send champions, because you get these rations, or these
Hmm.
boxes as chests, and you get lots of currency. That's really fun to use, and hold on to make really good decisions with just
Yeah.
picking up shit and going. And it's very, very fast paced, and I get so deterred about finding different, or running into dead ends. I know there's a lot of skill and just memorization of certain layouts, and that does play a huge part of the skill. But I personally can't stand doing the Twilight Strand, the Brutus on that run over and over and over again. If they started you in like Act 4, it gave you like 4 chests, you just like
Hmm.
loot explosion, make go with whatever character. I think that would be so fun. And then it'd be like kill Dominus, or go to start in Act 3, um, kill Dominus at a certain level. But I don't know. It'd have to be something different for
Hmm.
me to get into racing, as far as fixed seed and all those other things that they do. But anything that it's like different from the regular part of the game, I do enjoy.
I feel like this the signature race just it has a lot of elements that if you don't complete it and you don't get the top one time, it just feels pointless. Like you don't get the points. And also, I've just if you have the standard format and you don't even have like you don't even explore the map, it just becomes kind of stale because it's every time it's the same thing. There's nothing exciting about it. Like there's no like, I don't know. It's just not. Like, I think taking the map element out of it is just too much in the basic format.
Hmm. It's supposed to be seen as like the most competitive. It's like the Swiss version of racing, right? Big Seed. That's that's its attempt to
So to
make
level the playing field.
yeah, it's an
Yeah,
attempt to level the playing field. But yet I mean, how many other people do you know that feel this way too about Big Seed?
I know that Fixie was one of the least popular. Um, what's it called? Formats in the game. Like you can just see the player like turnouts.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's very low. When you see Endless Ledge, there's a very high
Jesus.
turnout. And when you see Big Seed and the signature race, it's very low.
So many small lives.
But like, the signature races is for the top tier racers to compete, and I can understand that. And I think the Fix Seed was a spawn of like how to combat map hacks, which was very rampant for a long time
I'm trying to.
in the races. I think so. I'm not entirely sure on this. This is basically just like I don't know.
Previous experiences.
Yeah, but
Yeah, well,
it came it came after a lot of that.
yeah. I
What's the
mean,
lump sum?
racing can be improved. I mean, yeah, that would help a lot of things. This all kind of comes back to player retention. You know, what keeps people playing the game, and I don't know. There's just a lot. Something that I've actually been kind of thinking of recently is that the community is a little too divided with all the different ways you could play. So what you could PvP, well, PvP, you could PvP,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you could race, you could play challenge leagues, you could play hardcore, but who does that? I mean, just the permanent hardcore, and you could play standard, and that's just
Oh, right.
so many different areas for people to be interested in. And we don't have like a large player base; it's not small, but
Mm.
we have a lot of things that kind of divide the community and what they want.
Yeah, it's very tribal.
Yeah,
They're like, oh,
And I
where's
think
the
that kind of
racing
hurts.
crew?
I think that kind of hurts player retention a little bit. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, I can't get together with the PvPers. I can't get together with the people who really want to race. I can't get together with the people who want to map.
Man.
You know, it's just
This guy's
I don't
pulling
know.
shit out of his ass.
People
This
are
is
finding
dumb.
their way of playing Path of Exile. I mean, and
that's
some things
great.
that we
It's their
included-
path.
Yeah, it's thank you.
You're welcome.
But
You're welcome.
I think
What?
crafting is or accumulating wealth. That's another game for people, and
Right.
just
Oh my
paying
God.
attention to economics, trends, making
Playing
business
pretty badly.
decisions or whatever. That's another way to play. But you know
Yeah.
what keeps me interested. I mean, I've been
Going
playing
the wrong way.
nonstop for 3 years. I really haven't taken any breaks. Just exploring different things and
5.
going so
Lame.
far as to, making wonky builds or testing builds, and then like I get to a point where trading becomes really, really like a nuisance, and that's when the game becomes unfun for me. Is when people start leaving the league, then it starts spiraling out of control, and items aren't being generated, or it's a pain in the butt to get a hold of somebody that has an item that you need. And I've gone through like leaps and bounds sometimes just to get certain items, and it's crazy. Like, and it gets exhausting when I have to do that because I have a certain standard of the rate I get or accumulate items that I need for my build, and I can tell as the leagues age that it gets harder, and I have to put more effort into polishing out builds. And I like to play finely tuned, min-maxed, and if I can't get to that phase, then it becomes unfun for me. So then I tend to go where the trading is at. So
Lots.
did you guys
lots to dwell
wanna
on. Well,
take any questions from chat or?
well, I think we're actually about to run out of time anyway, because I know you have to leave. So.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, I got a little bit if you want.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Go for it.
What?
Hedgie has a few questions that he pulled from chat while we're doing that. Go ahead. Close it off
Oh,
here.
I was asking if you wanted to take
Oh.
any questions. So if you guys have any questions,
Well, yeah, let's
if you
do
want
that.
to direct it to any one of us, or if you want to direct it at all of us, just let us know. Pop it in chat. Let me just scroll up and see if anybody's asked something. Johnny Mark asked something. I'm not gonna read that.
No, don't read that.
I was actually going to do this, but you had a pretty long.
Don't read
response at one
whatever
point.
Janamuk said.
Oh shit! Just kept going.
Or, yeah, I shouldn't say with a
The race
ignorant
rewards
American accent.
need to be applicable to any of your stuff in any league. I'm not sure what DNMR is saying about that.
Well, okay. So the race rewards is, and this is one of the places where I think they took a step back. Is where they keep delaying the time to where you can actually take out race rewards and leagues and stuff like that. So if you go into a race season and you do well and you get like a race reward, if you're in a temporary league, you can't take it out for like a month.
Yeah, but that's intended so it doesn't disturb
Yes.
the economy.
I know, but it also takes, in terms of racing incentives, takes away from that. There's no incentive to do something for a week that you're not gonna see in like 3 weeks.
I don't know. I found the Malagaros and the Rumi's concoction. I like that a lot. I mean, those are very irrelevant to end game
But you
uniques.
can't
1
use
month,
them until
I
they
guess
come
it's
to
just
the
relative
leagues.
to the person on how
Mhm.
long they plan on playing the leagues. But I think 1 month is okay. And I see that as an incentive, but it really has to be a good unique for
Yes.
me to shoot for that. Like
For it to be
Rumi's
worth the wait,
concoction,
yeah.
Malagaros. This league was unleashed into our league. I saw a lot of them pop up as soon as they were unlocked because people were just wanting some fast currency, and
Mhm.
I ended up buying a couple pairs. But
Well, okay, so I have a good question here actually. Ollie 5000 said, "Do you think there are too many builds that require top level uniques or perfectly rolled rares to run those builds? And if you can't run those builds, a lot of higher level content is restricted to you."
No.
So yeah, fire away. What do you guys think of that? I kind of think there might be, but
I think restrictions are okay because you know what
Who says
Chris
you have to
said
run every
is
single map in the game?
they like it when you have different characters to achieve different things. Like you might run a physical based attack character and then a spell based elemental character, and you can run certain maps, you know, to have a different character to do a different task. If you want to MF on a certain character, if you want to kill at Siri on a certain character, I think restrictions are good because it incentivizes you to make more characters and it increases the longevity. It's when you try to do everything on one character that really needs to be looked at. Like the bill said, just handle everything for very little cost. And I think that's a, you know, I think it's okay to have really strong builds if they take a long time to build up to. Like if they're expensive and there's something to aspire to. But when you can do a build that does everything and you can do that for very cheap, I think that's what I would consider broken or imbalanced.
I don't think there's too much of a. I think it's good that we have things that are hard to obtain. I don't think at all that we need best in slot uniques to be able to do end-game content. If you're smart about it, there is plenty of builds out there with limited resources you can do, and then if you have the resources, you can even do even crazier stuff. So I think it's fine, and I especially with they as I see it right now, they've made it more available, getting build enabling uniques, right? Like with Shabs and with Mjolnir and.
Well, those are specific build enabling, not like
So-
all encompassing build enabling.
They
It
open up a
still
variety
stands.
of builds.
Mhm.
They've done more, it seems, to open up that variation.
I don't know
of
about
builds.
this
Like,
layout,
whenever
man.
there's like a whole archetype behind something, they've made it more available, which is good. I think. Overall, I don't think that it's that endgame builds are too gated behind items.
Right. I think what may have actually given a lot of players the impression of that was just, you know, the start of these challenge leagues. Everyone wanted a lightning coil. Lightning coils were rare. Lightning coils got really expensive. So it's just like, I can't progress because I'm going to get dunked by anything that does physical damage unless I have a lightning coil or a 2000 armor astral plate. Like, it was just, I think it was an impression that was given to the players, and especially the
Yeah, rip.
players that are a little bit more inexperienced and the new
Like,
players.
I'm stuck in lower.
Because there are definitely players that have been playing the game, you know, since Torment or
Look at
Bloodline,
this
you know,
shit.
or since Sacrifice of the Veil, who still haven't been playing the game as long. And due to how the game works, people kind of come and go. You know, you play a league, you leave, you take a break, you come back,
GG.
blah, blah, blah. So those players who've been playing since
Peeps already
Sacrifice of the Veil, they may not have even had the experience
Forget
to recognize
Brutus.
that
I'm not even close,
there are definitely ways
man.
to work around the game without a lightning coil and an astral plate. And on top of that, when you have an entire community kind of just raving about how strong an item is, hence lightning coil, it kind of puts this like into your mind subconsciously that you need. And
Okay.
and on top of that, the price of it also makes you think that like, well, it's expensive. It must be really good.
Yeah, but like on another note, not that I feel this way, but you know, just objectively, like okay, so that player is running into that situation. Okay, I need a lightning quill. Now, what are his options? His options are to either quit or to find a way to earn currency, like either maybe roll an MF or find some other way or save. Doesn't it incentivize that player to work at it so that he can save up to buy a lightning quill? And doesn't it give him like a goal to achieve instead of just like getting a lightning quill right away, doing all the end game content and be like, all right, I'm bored. I'm gonna go play Hearthstone or I'm gonna go play Diablo or something. Like, doesn't that aren't goals important to set for players?
They are.
To
But I
increase
think-
the longevity.
I think the threshold of that goal is a little too high.
Yeah,
I
I can agree
think
to that too.
I think the community as a whole, like I think there's a part of the community that was outraged about physical damage and lightning coils. I just think they got it wrong. In all honesty, I think that there was, and this is where, as a developer, I think you should not listen to the community because, at least to some extent, because there were so many other viable builds, people just didn't bother figuring them out. everyone was on the coil hype train, and there were so many other things you could have done, and you could have done 82 maps without a coil. Maybe not the triple damage mod 82 maps, but you could you could have gotten to 82 maps with a more budget version.
I am so lost.
Flame.
But Lord of Flame, like even I can mention
Help.
so many different variations you could do, and you could make them really, really good. Coil was just what people knew about, and if they couldn't get it, they got upset, and that's just too bad.
I would like to see, like, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I would like to see a caster version of a coil where it
This
took
is,
an element and had some other kind
That's
of
real
drawback,
nice.
but
I like
a
it.
chest piece so that you couldn't stack it with quill, of course. But I'm very annoyed that it's so hard to roll blues on a coil, and as a caster, you're like, well, I want that physical mitigation. I like a better version of Cloak of Flame would be amazing, like
It's
more
real
ES
nice.
or something. I think Cloak of Flame is in a good spot. It just needs, I need a higher end version with a bit more base, whatever. You know, if it wants to go armor ES or just pure ES, but
A lot of
some
oh, sorry.
counter so that I don't have to burn like 1,000 chromes on a coil to get like 4 blue.
A lot of people right now are saying Cloak of Defiance. I mean, Cloak of Defiance was good, but it was never mitigation. It was effective HP. That's kind of the difference. But you got Arctic Armor with it, which was really, really good. But it
when
works.
you can regen to a source, you can look at that as mitigation.
Right.
You have to look at regen as mitigation, and
True.
since you can regen to 2 sources now, it becomes mitigation just from that.
right.
But even with the damage increase, like drastically, Bismuth, you know, just damage all across the board, I feel a lot of this stems from Immortal Call. That being changed, people now feel vulnerable. They were used to playing with like next to physical immunity. You take one hit and you're good for like the next 5 seconds. That was such a staple in every build. That 3 red combo that could just, or you know,
Oh
that
my
4
God.
red, 4 link that every character almost had.
Okay.
And there was almost no reason to not run it unless you were like really exercising a really long Immortal Call.
Jesus
But
Christ, the slow
That
as fuck.
stemming with the damage increase, people are like, oh my god, I need physical mitigation. And I don't know, I feel Immortal Claw is in a pretty shitty spot. There's no reason to self-cast it at all anymore. It's even investing into both duration, they've made the pathing even